In this video, I'm going to talk about why you should not care what other people think of you. Or at least not care so much, because people will disagree with me and say that, well, you have to care a little bit, with like work and people. Primarily what I'm talking about is when we feel insecure, we feel really bad when somebody talks about us or somebody says something to us that's not so nice and it hits a nerve, and then we go home either crying or it ruins the rest of our day for the most part. We don't want to feel unloved by people. We want people to like us, because the more people like us, then a lot of times we like ourselves more. So sometimes a huge part of it is if there's some sort of void inside of ourselves where we might not love ourselves, or we might feel like something is missing from inside of us where we don't feel fulfilled. Therefore, we look to other people to give us compliments or tell us nice things, or that we did a good job. So we're looking for acceptance or acknowledgement, recognition, stuff like that. So if we don't get that, then we feel terrible about ourselves. We feel like we're worthless, or we feel like just life sucks, basically. So this is why we should not care what other people think of us. All right. So the first thing is that anybody who judges somebody else or criticizes, blames, is judgment on themselves. Okay, so anybody who tells you that you have a big pimple on your chin, or tells you that, whispers behind your back, that you have a big butt, or makes fun of you for something, that is a reflection on them. So usually that person has insecurities within themselves, and they need to make fun of somebody else or talk about somebody else in order to look cool or feel cool and inflate their ego. And it works for them temporarily, but it doesn't really solve the problem, okay? It makes them feel good for like a second. It gives them a high for like 2 seconds. And maybe their friends will agree with them if they're, just as insecure themselves. So realize that when somebody says something to you or somebody points something out about you, that it is a reflection of themselves, of their own insecurities, or some kind of void that they feel inside themselves. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, how we think people perceive of us is usually very, very different than how people actually perceive of us. Okay, so how we think people see us is very, very different from how people actually see us. It's almost like we have filters on. We feel like, when we go out of the house and say we have like a pimple on our chin or something, we feel like everybody in the world is going to stare at our chin and be like, oh my God, she has a pimple. So kind of turn it around a little bit. When you go to a store or something and you're talking to a stranger who's very, very nice and they might have acne and pimples, do you really care that they have pimples or that they have braces or that they have like a lazy eye? You might notice it, but do you really care if that person's nice? If you're like a good person, do you care that much? If you do care and you make fun of them, then, that's a reflection on you, like I mentioned. So yeah, you have to turn the tables a little bit and realize that most people are not concerned with you. They're very self-absorbed. We're very self-absorbed. Okay. So, that person might be thinking, that you are like staring at their mole on their face or something like that. They're not concerned with your pimple. Okay. So next time you go out of your house and you're very concerned about covering something up about yourself, just realize that. Realize that it doesn't really matter, because most people are self-absorbed, and they might notice something, but they really don't care. Like if you have a best friend and they have, I don't know, they have something, a hair is out of place or something. It's not going to like spoil your friendship. You're not going to be like, oh, I'm not friends with you anymore because you parted your hair in a different spot today. No, it's stupid. It's stupid. So that is number two. The third thing I want to mention, and the third reason why you shouldn't care so much what other people think of you, is that by you being you, yourself 100%, you influence other people to be themselves 100%. So you sharing your story, bearing it all, can really help somebody else, okay? Can really help somebody else who may feel insecure and like they can't come out of their shell. People like to see other people be authentic and be kind and be generous because it has an effect, and it actually will transfer over where that person may start being kind and giving and loving and funny, and before you know it, everybody's laughing and it's all good. So, toxic people will influence other people to be toxic. But if you yourself can laugh it off or be yourself or try to drop the importance on a situation, realize that that's going to affect other people. It's not only going to throw off that person who is trying to point out your flaws and make themselves look cool, but it's going to show that you are more powerful than that person because you are stronger than them because you don't cave to their little game that they want to play. All right, so you could think of it like a game for yourself, all right? If somebody's trying to attack you, you're not, it's best not to try to fight back and fight them off. It's often best to just kind of like be invisible or just walk through them or just calmly take another direction, take a detour, all right? And that's going to help you out. So realize that anybody who puts you down or talks about you behind your back is really not meant to a necessary part of your life, okay? And people will always judge other people. People will always criticize, blame, talk about other people. But again, it's usually when somebody is judging somebody else, it is them actually judging themselves. They're basically telling themselves that I'm insecure, so I need to say this, and this about somebody else or blame or criticize something external to me because I can't deal with my own shit. I can't deal with my own shit. All right. So be stronger than the people around you and realize that you don't have to react in a defensive way to everybody. The less you can be defensive about it and the more you can observe without participating. So kind of in a sense, pretend that you're in an auditorium, okay? You're in an auditorium and at first you're observing the scenery and everybody. So there's all these characters on the set, and before you go on the set yourself, you observe where you are, what you're doing. You're very, very present in the moment, and you decide, or basically choose, how things are going to go, how your movie is going to go. You choose, you get to choose. So first you realize, okay, I'm here in this moment, present, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm thinking, okay? And then after that, then you can play your role in the movie as an observer. So it's almost like a game that you can play with people because you realize that these are all characters in the movie who are almost like zombies. They don't know that they're in a movie. They don't know that they're going by some sort of script, but you do. But you do because you recognize that and you took the time to be present and observant. And while they are going to go according to this script and they're going to respond how they usually respond because that's how they think the movie goes, you get to choose how your movie goes or how your storyline will go because you chose to be present, you understand where you are and where and how you want things to go. So that means you don't have to react the same way as all those other people or how you've always acted before because the way you've acted before was always according to that script, right? That you thought you were being you, but you were just following along the movie, okay, as one of the characters, as one of the person in the role, the actor or actress. So realize that you always have a choice, okay? You do not have to react. You don't. You can observe, you can participate, but You don't have to react according to how everybody else expects you to react. So that is it for today, guys. Love yourself. Take pride in yourself. Observe where you are in this time and space. And you can play your role in this life, but just remember, you get to decide and you get to choose how you react to people and whether you want to give in to the temptation of them trying to, make you feel bad about yourself, or you can choose to not react in a way where you feel bad about yourself, which over time, the more you do it, it will just be ingrained in you and you will respond in a healthier way and feel better and more confident about yourself because that's who you are. You are a better version of yourself than you give yourself credit for. So give yourself the credit you deserve and tell yourself that you are worthy of being better than reacting to somebody or feeling ashamed when somebody tells you something. All right, so that is it. I hope you guys all have a great day, and I will see you on the next one.